evening. My name is Michael Sturdivant. I hail from a little town called Marshville, North Carolina, about 50 miles east of Charlotte. I'm a 1998 graduate of Howard University. I'm a 22-year veteran in the United States Army. The Army represents my 9 to 5, and my 5 to 9 is a couple of different businesses. A t-shirt company, motivational speaker, published author, as well as a consultant company. You name it, I do it. And so I'm what you call a knowledge broker, where I'm able to take people, places, and things and help them correlate how they can learn from one another and establish relationships from their community of interests, where they have things in the same. And then it also expands to the community of practice who wants to utilize their services. And I also do business development as well. So I really thank you for the opportunity. I truly thank your New Life Community Baptist Church platform, and just happy to be here, sir.
Bless you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you for the introduction. Okay, so here we are in the midst of a global pandemic. We're fighting with COVID-19, where it has taken out a lot of people. We're still dealing with it. We're not out of the woods yet. And we're dealing with high unemployment rates and inequality. And then we're also dealing with racism at its worst. Yes. So tonight, as we look at this subject, I want you to talk to us from the first question that we have. How should we, or what should we be doing to empower ourselves in the midst of this crisis that we find ourselves in?
That's a wonderful question. When we start talking about empowerment, I love the parable about the woman in the oil. And in that parable, she speaks about not really having the resources as she sees it. And Elisha says, hey, well, what do you have in your home? And she said, well, I have some oil. And he says, well, cool, go get some jars from your neighbors. And with those jars, he taught her how to divide the olive oil and sold it. And, you know, the rest of the story, it turns out to be a good thing, because she was also able to, you know, not have her sons be enslaved, and she was out of debt. I say all of that to say that a lot of it is within us. You know, whatever we're connected to, God has given us the opportunity and the wherewithal from the experiences we have, whether it's through our jobs or just life in general, to have so much power within us. And so as we lead to that, I say in this day and age of what we're dealing with the global pandemic, the information that we do have out there for the last 60 to 75 days, we've been told socially distance, you know, and we found creative ways through Zoom and technology to find ways to still communicate and stay as close as we possibly can. Another thing, when it comes down to not just the pandemic, but the state of the affairs of what we see and what happened to Mr. George Floyd, it was horrible. And what it does is it reminds us constantly and consciously how valuable life is. In the same token, we also see the disparity between what power is and what entitlement does. And as people, especially Black people, and all people for that matter, we find ourselves in two dispositions. It's fear, or having the faith to keep watching the same thing happen. And so what we always seem to do in the cycle that we're in right now is that we see it and we're consciously reminded of it, because the media and the news cycle do two things between 6 and 6:15. They scare us. From 6 to 6:15, you see every face that looks like ours and what we've done worst, or why things are happening the way they are. Now, with that being said, one thing that we also do is, as passionate people, we also are emotion. We have emotions. In those emotions, the worst things happen with our emotion because it elicits what our fears tell us to do. And so we collectively organize, and in some cases, the protests are peaceful. Well, in other cases, you do have cases where they're looting. It's not the collective all, you know, and that's one thing I really don't like about these times, because when you start grouping all, you miss that majority of the folks. They just want to be heard, you know. They want you to understand their pain. They want you to understand that something's got to change, and them being there is where it's saying, move us now, you know. And so right now it comes down to, we got to be collectively organized and have things in place that we can do as a community that do not shut us out into a light that we're here to tear anything up or we're here to destroy our communities.
So tell me, what should we be doing as far as our political arena concerns? As far as here we are, we're in the midst of the pandemic. We got racism at its all-time high. We are quarantined at home.
Yes.
But tell me some of the things that we should be doing as individuals and as church leaders and as church families. How can we empower ourselves politically? Now, I know we can march, and that's good. Some people can march and some can't. But what are some other things that we can do? Because we do have an election that's coming up, one in June, and then we have the general election that's coming up in November. So what should we be doing, especially as Black and brown people? What should we be doing to empower ourselves for as the political arena is concerned?
All right. So great question again. What I would say is right now, for most election seasons, right before that election, maybe a month or so, you'll have that politician and he wants to come. He's focused on you because you have parishioners. And so in that endorsement or in him being able to visit your church, what he has now is he has a group of people under the guise of discipline that is controlled by religion. And so when they come visit, the question they don't get to have answered is, what are you going to do for my community? And they sit through the service and then they want to just shake hands once it's over. I would say this, you have a huge platform. For every one person, it represents three, because it represents the family, it represents the extended family, and it also represents the things that community has to deal with. So I would say, with your platform, invite them to a town hall within the next month or so, right? And ideally, look at those things that your community needs are really in need of. If it's fixing potholes, if it's community programs, if it's internship programs for your high school students, if it's coming together with Microsoft to give computer classes. There's so many different things that can be empowered by the influence of you as the pastor asking the politician what they can do and what services they can provide, because politicians have coffers, and in those coffers you have people that want to be a part of their influence, whether they get elected or whether they're setting up for the big election. So when you're talking to that politician, you're talking to his base. You're also talking to what is he willing to do for your congregation, because your congregation represents the community at large that has the most need.
So with that being said, we have the general election coming up in November, but then we have one coming up. We have a primary coming up in June.
Yes.
And so most of the time, people think that the only one that they should participate in is the general election. But
right.
Tell us how important it is for down ballot from the ground up.
Wow, I tell you, it is so important. You have states like Florida where what you register is what you must vote, and so Virginia, in Virginia, you have a pretty peculiar, different type of thing going on where, all the way from your school board, you can have an impact on who you select into those offices. When you get to those local elections, you have an impact on who you're going to elect. It is so important that if you know anyone that is not registered to vote, to get them registered to vote, and to even do your part to take them to, to have a voter registration drive. And so the perfect place to have that, the safest place where there isn't what I would call any politicking that should be going on, is at the church. The church represents so many things for a community, a place of healing, a place of refuge, a place to be heard. And in that place, with the respect and dignity of it, they're ground rules. You're at ground zero. And in those places, you can have parishioners that have those questions that want to be answered through, that can only really be answered through voting, you know? And so if anybody out there that doesn't think their vote counts, it counts. It counts huge. Because even though, you know, when it comes down to the national election and the electoral colleges, all the other elections are really by the popular vote. And so that's what means the most, right? If you can come across anybody and they don't understand why it's important for them to vote, then the thing that they're complaining about is exactly the thing that we want to fix. And that's the thing that we really have to get in touch and in tune with people, not to sway them, you know, but to give them the information that they need to make the best choice possible. And it's not about an us or them dichotomy. And when it comes down to race, the best way to divide us is to put us in an us or a them. A socioeconomic classification of us and them, an educational class of us and them. It comes down to what are the needs of the community. You know, if it comes down to who needs a ride to for healthcare appointments, or who needs a ride just to find, you know, get to an internship, or if the homeless need a meal, you know, they're looking at the church first because that's the segue between church and state. And so the largest amount of votes that most politicians get, especially in our community, is at the church. Politicians don't go to the club.
So while the church, the body of Christ, is still out on quarantine, not everybody has gone back yet. Certainly we have not, and it's probably going to be a while before we go back. So we can use Zoom platforms, yes, to inform people how to register and how to vote?
Mm-hmm. Yes, you can. See, especially with Zoom, you can actually put the ballot up there to show them exactly how to do it. And you can also, you know, if you can organize to the degree where in the chat, you can get the folks' addresses, or, you know, have a link up, have a virtual link up. And you can also go to the, I want to say the voter administration, and they'll be able to also set something up as well. The one thing about this pandemic that has kept us away from one another is that 6 feet is large. 6 feet is large, you know, and how we exchange items, gifts, you know, ballots, or being able to register, that stuff is really at your fingertips. It's really at your fingertips. So you got to utilize and find all those tools available to do so, because it's imperative at this time, because when you start looking at education and those funding dollars, a lot of information about the gaps are at your city council meeting. That's where all the secrets are being told. And a lot of times we don't go visit those meetings. So we don't know what's going on that's going to directly affect your neighborhood or your community. So that's the second caveat to that, is ensuring that you take time to go out to City Hall and go to those town hall meetings. And those are virtual as well. You also have the right to any open forum to have your question answered by sending them for asking for the affidavit or the minutes to a public meeting. That's your right, understanding your rights. And so those are all venues that you can personally assemble and have on a website. You can have those things sent to you directly. You can put together a council within your church to get the elected officials past things he voted on or voted about, and that can help you inform your decision. So it should never be based upon what we feel good and what we hear. It's an entire time frame where we have to do the research. Right now is the best time to do the research. We either sit at home waiting to go back to work, or working from home and doing other things on the computer. So it's time. This is the time where I really believe we're in the first 5 chapters of Isaiah, where we're at home and the world of what it looks like on the outside is being told to us, and it's scary. It's very scary. We got to be informed and be able to read and share information, not from a dogmatic fear sense, but from an essence of making the best decision for the community you live in, because it's about legacy. We got to provide a legacy for our children and the next generation behind us.
Now for those who may have autoimmune diseases and they're still concerned about COVID-19, mm-hmm. Speak to us a little bit about the absentee ballot.
Oh, the absentee ballot, that's the most powerful tool ever. Absentee ballot can be sent to you if you're not able to get to a polling place and you can make your vote heard. Now, snail mail or getting to the mailbox is one of those things that has always been there. But as long as your ballot makes it to the polling, the official address with that stamp date, by that stamp date, your vote counts. Being in the military and being away from Florida for years, every year I do my absentee ballot. And every year I get a letter back saying my vote counted. And so that's what's most important. It's not good to really wait to the last minute, but when you send it off, you make sure that it's stamped. You carry it or you have somebody carry it and you bring that receipt back that it was stamped and that you can have that certified mail because they're going to send you a note back saying that your vote counted.
So is there a way that we can actually do it online instead of actually sending in the letter?
Different places have different protocols. I'm currently stationed in Kansas. I know that there's a website that we can go to receive an absentee ballot from whatever state you're from. We have what's called a voting representative, and I'm pretty sure there are voting representatives in your area. And that would be a good do out for us to research. And actually, I'll take that on as a do out to find the information for you for your congregation to make sure that they have that ability.
I believe it's there. I just don't have the link. I'm going to ask my tech man if he can find the link for absentee ballot and put it in our chat. I did it today, so you can actually do it by mail and you can also do it online. So yes. For those of you that may be concerned about COVID and thinking that it's still too risky for you to go out, the state of Virginia do have the absentee ballot where you can actually mail in, or you can do it online and you're able to sign it online. I did it this morning, so maybe we can get the link put into our chat box before we'll finish up this live session. So thanks a lot. So do we have any questions before we move? There it is. Okay. So all of you who are watching tonight, whether it is via Zoom or live Facebook, here is the absentee ballot information. Is right in that chat box. You can actually get it. The link will take you right to the absentee ballot and voter registration information in the state of Virginia. So for all of you that's in the state of Virginia, you don't have an excuse. We got all the time in the world, as Michael stated to us. So let's make our voice count. There's a whole lot of things that's going on, and there's no reason to gripe if we don't make our voice heard through voting. And if we've already registered to vote, then encourage someone else to register to vote. Before we move to our next question, I want to give anybody an opportunity. If they have any questions about what we've already talked about so far, you can type your question in the box. If not, we'll continue to move on so we can get to some more information and use our time wisely. Okay, if we get one, we'll come back to it. So secondly, what can we do as a people and as Black and brown, because the unemployment rate is so high, some people are not getting paychecks. So while they're at home, yes, what are some of the things that they can actually do maybe to empower themselves to make money? We know the unemployment rate is extremely high. It's in the millions. Yes. And so by you being an entrepreneur, I think you can speak to that and give us some ideas of some things that we can do, because some people feel like, you know what, it's just too hard. I may not have the cash to start a business. So tell us some things that we can do and some simple things that may not cost a whole lot of money up front.
Right. So this is my passion. And I tell you, it's not about making money. It's about the opportunity to take your opportunity and bet on yourself. And sometimes you have to do that. So I have a t-shirt company, and the t-shirt company cost me a total of $20. $20. So when we talk about t-shirts, let's think about it. A t-shirt costs about $5 to $10, right, to make, right? Let's say how much you normally pay for a t-shirt, $25 to $30, right? That gap is what the stores make off of. You think about a Gucci t-shirt, you're talking about a $150 t-shirt that really only costs about 3 cents to make when you look at the volume. Business is all about finding the gap. And to open a business, right, to go on the IRS website and to establish your, get your EIN is free. What you're paying for is that the state recognizes you as a business entity. So my vehicle that I like using is being an LLC. As an LLC, you protect yourself and protect your property. At the same time, I'm writing off the Zoom session. I'm writing off how far I travel. I write off the office space in my house and part of my rent. I write off, you name it, there's a way you can write it off. Now, let me get back to the t-shirt business now. So when you start to look around yourselves, if you got a family of 5 and you say, hey, why don't we just make our own t-shirts? Or you have someone that can do a design. This t-shirt company, it makes the t-shirts and it delivers the t-shirts all within a matter of 4 days. In order to be, and it also gives you a website with that $20, right? So imagine, right? All of the people that you know, you got family reunions coming up for the summer. They can be virtual family reunions and they need t-shirts because guess what? We love t-shirts. We don't only love t-shirts, we like hats, we like hoodies. We like things that show our uniqueness, right? And so in that vein, the cost that it takes to make, right? You're not paying for that. And the cost that someone is buying it, you're not paying that either. But you're getting the gap in between. So if a t-shirt costs $10, you sell it for $30, you get the gap in between, that's $20. And you just pay $20 for the website. With the website comes the domain name, and as well as you can get the security as well. Now, in order to protect yourself, I would say, my advice to anyone, of course, is protect yourself so you get the rest of those benefits as an LLC, and you become a one-person LLC. Husbands and wives can do it as when you have, so that's number one, right? And I will give you the information. When I say the best thing about it is what God gives to me, I'm gonna give to you, right? No strings attached. You don't need to go get 3 more people. You don't need to put 100 people in a circle to let the person in the middle, and then you can get $3,200 in 6 days. You're totally independent to do this because it's just information. The next one is, when you look at a thing that you are paid to do on a daily basis, you're now a consultant. If you're married, you're a marriage consultant, especially if you've been divorced. Ain't no marriage like a second marriage, because the first one you learn every day. Now, what I would tell you is that as a consultant, I don't care what job you do, right? If you're the only one doing that job and you have that specialty, right? You're a consultant. A consultant finds an easier way to do another job for anybody else. If it was, for instance, people ask me all the time, hey man, how do you, I'm looking at doing a trip for the fellas. Oh, okay, all right, I can do that for you. I set up the whole trip for you for $500. So I can take that $500, I can go to my friend who's a travel agent, and they will find me a trip that's $250 for all 5 of them to go for 3 days. I just made $250, and I have an LLC, and I can write it off.
Excellent.
So let me give you one more. I'm gonna give you one more.
Take your time. Take your time.
Everybody has a story. Everybody got a story. You got a story about how bad you've been bored about the COVID, you in the house and everything else, right? Kindle KDP. If you go on Amazon right now and you put my name in, you will see my book. I write devotionals, and so I sell those devotionals for $12 for a hardback, and I sell them for $5 for the ebook. Now, Amazon allows you to write your story and publish your book for free.
Wow.
For free. Now, guess how much you get back? 70%. Now, I'm telling you, you can write the book for free and you get 70% of the proceeds back. Now think about it. Who don't want to read about you? You got enough people in your business on Facebook. You got enough people that want to ask you questions about how you made it through this, how you made it through the marriage, how you made it on top, what's your next move? And so the thing is, and so when it comes down to editing and all of that good stuff, give it to your friends and let them edit it. Grammarly will edit the book for free. And in a matter of 3 days, once you put it into Amazon, because they set it up for you. I mean, they give you the whole format, and then you can sell the book and you get the proceeds back. Now, let's talk about time. When you do the t-shirts, by the time the t-shirt delivers, you get your money back the next day. So if I'm bored and my kids say, hey, Dad, I made this design of this drawing, I said, cool, we make a t-shirt. When they get that t-shirt back, they get those proceeds back. Each one of my kids have their own accounts. Whenever you also have a business, you can hire your children and deduct $1,000 a month. So 3 kids, that's $36,000 that I can deduct.
So you can actually, so what Michael is saying, we can actually not just empower ourselves, but we can empower our children as well.
Yes, yes, yes. I mean, and it game nights. You want to have a game night? You want to have a game night? Your LLC is Family Fun and Recovery LLC, and you got game night. You want 10 people to come to your house for game night and eat cookies and drinks and everything. They'll make a donation of $10 towards whatever, the food or whatever the food is or whatever, right? They come over, they play the games, and guess what? You just made $200. And so the thing is, it's about the gap. It's about the gap. You want to when outside open up again, there are going to be so many people that just want to go outside to do things. If you're from the area and you know the best places to go, you can sponsor date nights where you actually take people around to show them the best places to go, right? People will pay because they don't have the time to do it themselves. I think the best idea that I did a couple years ago was I had a good friend of mine, and he was like, hey man, I don't have time to plan nothing for me and my wife to get, to do anything like that. So I started planning them date nights, make the reservations. Hey, this is, you set the schedule and you do those things, and it leaves you time to just be creative, to have the time. People are paying to get their time back, and now people want their lives back. Now I'm gonna give you one last one. I got a couple of them, but anyway, who understands how insurance works? Okay, well, I'm gonna share it with you. When you pay your insurance premium, guess what the insurance agent gets? He gets your premium times 12.
Wow.
2 days later. So when he's trying to
12, 2 days later.
2 days later, as soon as he write that policy. Now, you know who all can write a policy? Everybody on this Zoom. You can write a policy on yourself. Guess how many chapters it is to get an insurance license? It's
we listening. Chapters. Tell us.
It's 6 chapters, 6 baby chapters, right? And so once you get licensed to sell insurance, you can sell any insurance. You can sell car insurance, trip insurance. You can sell any insurance, because insurance is a vehicle that says something bad is going to happen. Matter of fact, the world is expecting that something bad is going to happen. So coming out of COVID, I would say every family on here needs to have them an LLC, where they're the consultant, and whatever they do for other people, they have what's called either a rate, or they have a package, or they have some idea of how they monetize their value. Photographers, there's always someone wanting to be Instagrammed. I think there's an Instagram model stuck in everybody's head, but they don't know how to take pictures, And when you start looking at all these kids that know how to make memes and all this other stuff, it is a matter of time before they get that one viral thing that goes viral, and they're getting paid off of it. If you know how to do websites, guess how much the website costs? You can make a website for as little as $14. As little as $14. You can have a blog website. You can go to Shopify. You can get stuff from other stores, sell it on your Shopify site, and just make money. You can do the same thing with Alibaba. So let's take, for instance, Beats headphones. Beats headphones, if you go on Alibaba, you will see that headphones really only cost about, they sell them for, let's say they sell them for $300. It costs them about $8 to make them.
So there's no excuse while we're sitting home and not making money. I heard a pastor say that while we're in COVID, our phone should be making money for us.
Oh, your phone, yeah. Now, I'm gonna tell you, if you stocks are a prime example. Acorn. So I would say right now, as we look at things, the things that you utilize the most. So a couple weeks ago, gas was $1.32 out here in Kansas. Today, gas is $1.57. So depending upon how many shares you buy, and depending upon how much risk you want to take, it's easy. Now, the thing about stocks, though, you got to be willing to stay in it for as little as 90 days or as long as a couple years. But you also have to make sure that you're conscious of the risk you're taking, right? So no stock has ever lost went down to $0. So I would say with what's going on out in Minnesota and around the country with everything, and all the Walmarts and Targets that are being vandalized and looted, they're going to shut down, right? So the stock is going to have to go into Sam's and Costco, BJ's. Right now, BJ's is $35, $36. COVID comes back again, which it will. It's going to rise. It's going to rise, and it's going to rise fast. You know, at the same time, you have a lot of stocks and everything that are going down. They're called like penny stocks. So let's say a stock is, let's call it 5 or 6 cents. Well, throughout the day, it rises, it falls. Let's say it gets all the way up to $1, right? You cash out right then. So there's so many ways where you can make your money, and you can make your money work for you. Now, what is money? Money's a tool. It's also the root of all evil, but money's a tool. You got to spend money to make money, but you also got to look at your return on investment on how you're looking to invest. And so whether you start now, start later, you know, that same money that you could be saving. So my family, it was easy for us. We started saving with COVID because we cooked at home. We cooked at home. We cooked at home, and we became better at cooking at different things and all that kind of stuff. And the kids started cooking. We didn't realize how much we were saving because we didn't eat as much. So spaghetti only costs, restaurants get away with spaghetti. A $15 spaghetti plate really costs them 20 cents to make. The water's free. The spaghetti ain't nothing but a noodle, and they buy it in bulk. So you got to imagine, like, whenever you go out to, what's that place? Olive Garden. Everything you see on your plate is commercialized. It's frozen. They take it out. They warm it up. They stir it up. They put it on your plate. They bring it to you, and they bring you a check for $100 for 5 people. I'm not saying they don't have to go out to eat, but what I am saying is that you can do the same thing and make that sacrifice, and then you have something for later. You
know, we were talking a few minutes ago about books and devotionals, and my daughter just texted me a few minutes ago, and what she said was, "See, Dad, I told you. They've been telling me for a minute, Dad, go ahead and put your devotionals out. You know what? God confirms His word in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it in the next week or so. I'm going to start on it, and I'm going to do it." And I know what she'll probably say. Why did it take somebody else to say it? We've been saying it to you for a minute. And for those out there that's listening to us tonight, you've been wanting to do something for a long time. And a lot of times we think of things and we don't follow through on them, and somebody else come up with the same thing we've been thinking about, and they're making major money. And we say to ourselves, man, I remember thinking about that. I wish I had done it. Well, so we get so relaxed. If God puts an idea into our heart, then we need to act on it. So
Yes.
you said something else. You said something else about, it's funny, you said something else about divorce. You learned the second time around. And what I thought about when you said that, here we are, and we're still quarantined, dealing with this pandemic. We can turn a negative into a positive.
Yes, you can. Yes,
and
you can.
By just telling our story.
Yes.
By telling our story. Everybody, like you said, everybody got a story, but everybody's story is different.
Yes.
So
yes.
You would be amazed. We would be amazed of how many people want to read your story. And we don't know how many. We'd be surprised of how many lives we can touch with our story. Our stories, our testimonies, they are very, very powerful.
Right. And I tell you, the true blessing is in the testimony, because as you're going through, you're always wondering, how am I going to get through this? And your faith has to be so. For me, my faith has no hope. You know, I don't even. Me and hope don't even get along no more, because my faith is so strong and genuine about, if God gave it and I can give it away and I can get it back again, it was never mine to keep. You can't take it with you, right? You can show somebody else how to do it. And so when you're showing someone else how to do it, you know, that's the best way that you can become better at it. Now, the platform that you have in the church is so surreal, because you're a visionary and you're leading people to understand that it's already in them. If you speak it, it can happen, you know, and you have to speak life. So this is what I say. If you have 1,500 Facebook friends and you tell them about your book and you sell that book for 99 cents, you just made $1,500.
That's true.
And then you tell them, hey, they're only 99 cents. Why don't you get 3 of them? And then have a sale the next week and say, hey, support me. You become a bestseller. You got to understand the end game. You got to understand the end game. God's end game was not that you serve idol gods and say, how much money can I make? But it's how many people can I help? Right? So what I've learned the hard way also is that people apologize hoping that you have a heaven or hell to put them in, because they want you to wait for them to get themselves together. They want you to make sure that you give them a chance when they've chosen what they're going to do with your trust, your energy, and your time. In your repentance to God, He knows what you're going to do. You got to prove it to yourself.
And the scripture talks about in Genesis, what the enemy meant for evil, God will turn it around for good.
Yes.
Here we are, and I can't say where this virus came from. Right. I want to believe God didn't send it, but who knows? And I'm not going to put myself out there to say who sent it or what. Right. But I do know this: He will get the glory out of it.
Yes.
And while we may have lost a lot of friends, I do believe that just to let everybody know how powerful God is, He just shut everything down, just to let us know He's still in charge, and He'll always be in charge. So here we are, we're in a pandemic, and some of us, we're itching to get out of the house, but we still don't want to move too fast because COVID is still moving. So instead of saying, well, I'm bored, here we are tonight, we're sharing with you, and we're trying to help you to empower yourself while you're sitting home. So people got books inside of them. Your first book, it don't have to be long. I've never written one, but I'm going to start on mine, and it can start off with 30 pages. That's 30 more pages than you had, and that gives you an opportunity to get your name out there and share your story, because everybody has a story. You know what I heard? I heard this, that domestic violence
Yes.
percentage, the rate, it has actually shot through the roof since COVID has started, because everybody is in the home. And so for those out there that may be who've had situations and been in the middle of domestic violence, you need to share your story. And I know it might be hurtful, but you never know who needs to hear it and how God has dealt with you and brought you out of it. So there could be, that can be a lot of things that we can turn negatives into positives. So this is the reason we're here tonight on Let's Talk About It, because we want to empower not just New Life Church, but we want to empower the community and all of those who are listening, wherever you are tonight. This is the reason we're here, to help you to use what's available. So I'm into stock. And so I'm taking notes, a couple of things that you said, and I've been in it more than 90 days. And when you get into stock, it is a risk. So you can learn about it. If I can do it, you can do it. Right. So now we got about 15 minutes, but is there any questions before we move to the next section? Because the next section that we get into, I think is very important. It's what Black and brown people need to know and need to hear about, and it will help us to see how powerful we are as Black and brown people. So do we have any more questions before we move to our next question that we're going to talk about? If we do, we'll come back to it. So Michael, tell us tonight how important it is, or how important is the Black dollar?
Oh my goodness. Oof. Because it's so expendable, and we practically give it away. It's liquid, right? They are expecting that the stimulus check is going to be burned up. They expect it. I mean, they salivate over the Black dollar. They salivate because anything that's trendy, we want to have it. Michael Jordan shoes cost $7 to make, and it's the same shoe over and over again. And so we're talking about $1 billion industry that people stand outside for. That dollar does not go back into your streets. It doesn't go into lights. It doesn't go into the economy. It doesn't go anywhere but into Nike's pocket, right? So when we start talking about Black dollars, so the ideal is this right here. Let's say we take 10 people. It's just a test. You take 10 people and they take $10 a week and they put it into a stock, right? And now we're not looking at, they're not going to go broke. They're not going to miss a mortgage payment or anything. And they let that bad boy ride for 52 weeks, right? They'll see some highs, they'll see some lows, but in it, at the end, they'll have $520 plus what they've let it ride on, you know? And so when it comes down to the Black dollar, that dollar's still green. It's still green. Now, the difference is what we look at the value in dollars making sense. If you can take that same example and put that into anything you want to invest in. I don't care if you take that and put it away for a rainy day or put it away for an allotment or anything else, right? It may not gain interest, but you still have it. There's a story about the talents. You know, one person was given 10 talents, one person was given 5, and one person was given 1. And he was more angry with the person that he said, I just held on to it because I didn't want you to be mad if I lost it. That's all about the principle of investing. The person that had 5, he ended up with 10. You know, the person with 2, you know, it was all about the risk you're willing to take to bet on yourself. So when we start talking about the Black dollar, we're talking about, hey, we're expecting, society's expecting that someone can't manage it because they want to spend it on things that bring them no value. And then we're back into that poverty line of need where it's going to be a problem because now we need, they're going to go after loans, right? Loans that'll never be paid off. They're going to go after things like theft, robbery, crime. They're going to go after things that will not allow them to get up, and it's going to constantly keep them down. And so Dave Ramsey had a great system. If you're single, save $500 for a rainy day, and then start working on, a snowball for your debt. I encourage you to do $1,000, because by then, if you save $1,000, what happens is you'll honestly realize what you didn't need. This COVID deal has allowed people to look at one another in their home and really answer the question, what is your value? What is our value to each other if we can't get anywhere? We're in this house and we still have problems. Or we're in this house and we figured out that we're the problem. We won't get out of God's way. The rules are simple, right? The stewardship and time that God gives you, that's the gift. That's the gift. And anytime that you're not willing to utilize what you have, you're just going to have it until it's gone. And then that's when the panic starts. So the economy is hoping that when the outside open up, everybody that need the nails done, the haircut done, coming to buy some new jeans, going to the movies and everything else, they're going to expect that is going to be, that the Raptors are going to be open. And all this money is going to come in to the economy, but it does not necessarily have to come from your pocket, right? Because the perseverance of understanding what it is to build and what it is to save and what it is to appreciate what you have will take you a lot further than spending it because you see it. And sometimes it takes you some discipline. My discipline are my wife and kids. Kids always need something. Somebody always needs something. But again, we teach them about, is this really a need that we have to do right now? And if it is, we positioned ourselves. We positioned ourselves to do the things that we need to do. And so now we have to come out of this time where God has put us in a place where we're all together in the same place. We got to come out of this time better prepared for when it happens again.
So there's a question in our chat box, but before we get to it, how important is it, while we're talking about the black dollar, that we sow into black companies?
So I think it's very relevant as a topic. I think that even as an entrepreneur, you succeed till you fail, and then you succeed again. When we start investing into what we build, right, there's a quality and a caliber of service that we have to mentor each other to come to, right? If it's a tire, I wouldn't care if it was a black tire or white tire, the quality has to be there for safety. If it comes down to its delivery of service, right? And so what we're paying for, right? We're paying for the comfort of making sure that what we're asking for is what we're getting, right? Now the investment in one another's business is this simple. We want to invest in each other, because as we invest in each other, it also keeps the pipeline open that we can also give to someone else. So Bishop, this is what I'm gonna do, right? I have 3 of my t-shirt businesses that I'm going to give away. And you will choose to whoever they go to, and I will mentor them on how to do a t-shirt business. All right. Now, again, I will give it away. I will cash app you the $60, and they have a t-shirt business, a website, and so on and so forth. And whoever it blesses, that's what I'm there for. So, and we're going to get to this question, but while we're here, Black Wall Street. Yes. Tell us about it, because some people don't know about it. And I want to talk about the value of what happened in Tulsa and how the Black community and what they had and how powerful they were. Oh my God. So at one point in time, Tulsa was probably one of the richest cities, comparably was one of the richest cities in the country. And what they did was they invested in themselves. It was, they first and foremost, in order to get to Tulsa, they were pushed out there. And, you got the oil boom and you got other companies. Well, what they managed to do was build an entire town solely from their own equity, from their own banks, from their own resources, and they had to buy from each other, but they invested in each other, right? So everything you had in your day came from someone that looked like you, but at the same time, they also had reinvested into the economy. In order to have a bank has to have $161,000. A lot of people don't know that. It's $161,000 because that's where the Fed guarantees the money. The government needs enough money and the bank entity means, do you have enough money that I can take your money and in a savings account that has less than $50,000, I'm going to charge you for it because I'm going to take your money and I'm going to bet on loans for your money. That's all a bank does. That's all a bank does. All a bank does is look at the principle of I'm going to use your money for folks. It'd be better for me to get somebody at high risk, but they have okay credit because I know they're going to pay back the money. And over time, I'm going to make more money on them, right? So when we start talking about real estate and Black Wall Street, they owned all their stuff. They owned it. They didn't make payment, they owned it. It's a lot like the Chinatowns. Chinatowns collectively come together, they make a business, they bring people over, they keep their money in their community, and we keep buying hair from them.
Yeah.
You know, we keep on buying this hormone chicken. You know, I ain't never seen chicken wings that big.
I know, right?
Keep on buying them, right? And they keep that money right there in there. And so when it's time for their kids to go to school, they don't have loans. They send them to school, right? When they want to buy cars, they don't buy the $50,000 car. They buy the $5,000 car, right? And they work, but the money's still coming in. Black Wall Street was better than that, right? And so when Black Wall Street got too big and taxes, the main thing about Black Wall Street, the tax game didn't break them. There are two ways they break communities now, and if you pay attention, you'll see it. Howard University, the entire Shaw neighborhood, the backside of Howard University campus is gentrified. When I was a freshman at Howard University, it was tough. It was tough. But now those same houses, what they did was, even if people paid them off, they raised the taxes. So they lost their houses because they couldn't pay the taxes. And the houses had been passed down from family to family to family to family to family to family. Well, they got down to that one part of the generation that didn't understand money and they couldn't pay the taxes, so they lost the house. And then they moved someone else in, repainted the house, and then they jacked it back up. The value tripled and doubled. So Black Wall Street didn't have that problem. It was almost a debt-free cash cow. So you got to imagine if the economy around Black Wall Street was nearly debt-free with the businesses, how do you think they were living around there? They didn't owe nobody nothing. And then it was burned down. It wasn't just burned down. The people were massacred.
And the reason why I brought this up, because the history books don't talk about it in school. And so we as Black, the young generation, they need to hear about it. Yeah. Tell us the end of the story. What happened?
Well, when we start talking about, nobody was really ever charged with it. They just burned it down. I mean, it was, only thing you get out of Tulsa right now is another First 48 episode. That's all you get out of Tulsa right now is another episode of First 48. The history of what it was, we'll never know what it could become because even the history books have taken it out. And no one was actually ever charged with the massacres. And the massacre came about because there was a white lady who accused a Black man of rape. Mm-hmm. Yes, just the movie, I think it was Rosewood. Rosewood. Yeah, Rosewood. Yeah, the movie Rosewood is that depiction. Now, worse than that, let's deal with that a little bit. It was, I'm not gonna necessarily talk about relationships between Black and white. I'm gonna talk about the lies that are told that end up getting us in more trouble, right? And so when we start looking at history, throughout history, a lie was told and it started getting Black people killed. Emmett Till, George Tenney, and the story goes on and on and on. You know, the Freedom Riders out of Philadelphia, Mississippi, all the way to now, to where the police can tell someone, don't chase that young man, you have no authority. They chase him and they kill him with Trayvon Martin.
Right.
A lot of times people get confused on what the court system is really about. Trayvon Martin's case was not that Ben Crump lost the case. It was George Zimmerman versus the state of Florida, and was stand your ground an admissible law. Ben Crump's example and the witnesses he had did not tell the story that Trayvon was murdered. It didn't tell the story. It was George Zimmerman versus the state of Florida. The same as in Brunswick, Georgia. It'll be the McDaniels who were, went through today. It'll be the McDaniels versus the state of Georgia, which does not have a vigilante law. There's no law against vigilantism in Georgia. So it's we're in some trying times. So we have to become educated. We also have to also be willing to work together, right? One thing we don't do is share ideas because we're so afraid someone's gonna steal them from us.
Right.
When one of us gets a PhD, we all get a PhD.
That's right. One win, we all win.
When one of us go to prison over something crazy, we're there with them,
mm-hmm.
right? And so now we have to come to the point of our communities of holding congressmen accountable for the decisions they make. They want to vote. You got to listen. You got to come to a public forum to understand, what are you doing for my community? If I'm selling a T-shirt or I'm selling a chicken plate and I have 1,500 friends and only 3 buy a chicken plate, I'm about to have 1,497 new friends.
So I'm going to ask this question that's in the box. Mm-hmm. And then after, if we don't have any other questions, I want you to wrap it up with mm-hmm. closing remarks. Okay. So the question is in the box is, should we be concerned about 401k through our place of employment? Also, is there dangers to borrow? Is there a danger to borrow right now? Now, if you feel comfortable in answering that question, you can. It's in your lap.
Okay, so first and foremost, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a risk taker, and so I'm answering the question from that premise because I deal with it on a daily basis. Your 401k, you still have to understand what you're invested in. For 8 years, I let the Army invest in some stock, something. I just said, hey, I'm just gonna put the money in there. It was making 2% on a return for 8 years. And I think I probably put in more than I was making off of it. I made one change, and in 2 years, I'd almost tripled my money. Because you now have to, the onus and responsibility is not on if they give it to you, it's on what you know is in it. Mm-hmm. And you have every right to, if it's more beneficial for you to take whatever's in it out and put it into another vehicle, then do so, because it's yours, right? It's yours. The other piece is the accountability that don't allow anybody to give you anything you don't know what you have. You got to know what's in there. Mm-hmm. The 10 Commandments were for those people. And it was a second set of the 10 Commandments because Moses had to come down, kill a bunch of people that could be in compliance and so on and so forth. You got to know what's in your portfolio.
The second part of that question, is it dangerous to borrow right now?
Again, when you start looking at the risk, you got to look at why you're borrowing. If you're looking at borrowing to have money for a rainy day, that's one thing. If you're looking at money to borrow and invest, knowing that, you got a good chance of flipping it, and then you can pay them back with their money, and then you still riding, it's all about the risk. Now, you have to understand your value of money. My value of money is, okay, there's certain risks I can take, and there's certain things that I can do with it. regardless of how much money I make, I ain't gonna miss it if I'm on a budget. So if I make $10,000 a month, but I'm living on $170 a week, and really I can really live on $100 a week because I keep gas in the cars. We done spent $500 on the groceries, and so on and so forth. I'm okay with what I have because I've been responsible with where everything else is going. That means the kids' accounts are fine. When we get ready to go on vacation, hey, this is what we're gonna use the money for. That means, if it's time to go to school, we know, hey, all right, we'll do it for that. It's not, the scary part is when you just want it and you just want to have it to be safe. You always have to make sure that you have a vehicle that's bringing you something in, even if it's just your stocks, even if it's just your, t-shirt company. If I get bored and I got something coming up in the news or a game is coming up, I will start promoting on Facebook. And before you know it, I got 1 or 2 people here to say, hey man, I need a shirt for this, or if I want to, help somebody do a policy, So there's money to be made, and the money is not growing on a tree, but it doesn't take you having to have money to make money. You have to look at the opportunity you're willing to do to take the opportunity. So let me just run it back down for you. So in order to start a t-shirt company, let's say that's $20, right? In order to write a book, that's free. In order to become an insurance agent, it's how fast you can take in 6 chapters, pass a test with 100 questions, and if you have $60, Now, we just said 20, free, 60. That's $80 that you was gonna waste anyway. And you can be making money before you even go back to work. So imagine now you're going back to work and that money is there. And now you're working, but you knock off 4 policies a month. And that's another $1,500, because guess what? If you pay $180 on the insurance premium and you multiply that by 12 at 10, that's $1,800 right there. So 1,800 times 4, and that's on policies where people gonna need insurance, and it's not up to you on whether they can afford it. People afford what they want to afford. People call you when they want to call you, right? Mm-hmm. People call you back people come over when you don't want them over. And so you're not selling anyone anything they don't need, and none of this stuff requires you to go get 3 friends and then they got to be in the pyramid and this, that, and the third, and so on and so forth. This is the last one I'm gonna give you. Amazon Web Services is free. You can become an Amazon Web Services engineer, you can become a designer, or you can become there's another one, right? But Amazon is giving this information away for free, right? The starting salary at Amazon, when it comes down to these tech and cloud features, is $120,000 to $180,000. And all they want you to do is know the language in most cases. And then they give you the training for free. So if you're stuck in the house for another month, you got Amazon Web Services, you can write you a book, you can get you a t-shirt company, and you can also do that. Those are all things where no one has to sell you on, hey, if you get a friend and I get a friend, you get 2 more friends and you get this. It's no hustle. So the empowerment is this: being totally transparent. If you were on this call, you were meant to be here because you can make a difference, because you will need one of these services. You can't come out of this pandemic and not have your own business. You can't come out of this pandemic and not have a new skill. You can't come out of this pandemic and not have insurance to the degree that for a $300,000 policy, and they don't have to check you for anything. And should you become disabled or not able to work, you get 70% of that insurance policy. That's how insurance works.
I think that what we have discussed tonight, your information was valuable. And I pray that everyone got something out of it. We will be putting this will be up on Facebook for everybody to see. We are recording it on Zoom as well. You can go to our website. Please, Ray, if you hear me, if you can put it in our chat box, how they can go to our YouTube and how they can see it on Zoom again if they would like to. This was awesome information. And what I want everybody to do that's on Zoom, that's from New Life, if you would put in the box, or if you're on Facebook Live, please give some hearts or thumbs or thank you on Zoom to Michael for taking this time to empower us and give us information while we're here in this global pandemic. And while you're sending your thank yous out, I want to say to all of those that are watching us on Facebook Live, if there's a particular subject that you would like to hear, please email us. Our email information will be in the chat box on Zoom and Facebook. It will be put there. Send in your questions, send in your what you would like for us to talk about, and we will try to make it happen for you. Again, Michael, this was excellent. I'm glad that I got the opportunity to make a connection with you through Ben. This will not be our last time. We're gonna have another ride again. So be expecting a call from me, and we're gonna do this again. So certainly, yes. This has been great. Now, a question was asked in the chat box. Does he have a Facebook business page for us to support or website?
Of course.
Can you? I don't know if you can see the chat box from where you are. You probably can't. If you say it, maybe he can get it and write it in, because we want to be able to bless you and sow into you. Say it, he'll type it in. If you miss it, say it again. We want to get it in the box so everybody can go to your page, your YouTube page, if you have one, your social media page, your website, whatever you have. Give us that information. Okay, I see you.
All right, I'm typing it in now.
Okay.
So so this is what I'll do, right? If anyone goes to that Bandwagon Mike site, that's one thing to buy a t-shirt. It's something totally different where I want you to have your own business. And I will give it to you. I will give it away. When I tell you I will give it away, I will give it away. If you ever meet anybody and they say, well, let me just hook it on up for you. You know, I got you. Get away from me. If anybody on here is interested in understanding how to own their own insurance company, not buy insurance, their own insurance company, and empower themselves, that how fast you can take care of 6 chapters will be how fast you can start making your own money, and you can make money within the first 3 days, just as we're training you to do it. I want nothing from you. I want nothing from you, right? And you know, what I do want is I want you to be empowered. I want you to understand that the transparency of your life and what you mean to other people is so valuable and so necessary, especially in a time like this, because no one should ever tell you you need to wait on me to make sure you can get paid.
Listen, we appreciate that. Now, again, bandwagonmike.com. So yeah, whatever information that any questions that we have, they can go right to that, and and you will be able to respond back to them.
Okay, no, so let me give you the email address is bandwagonmike@gmail.com. bandwagonmike@gmail.com.
Okay, right? Ray, can you?
So I use a teacher. I'll give it to you right here.
Okay, all right. And do you have a website page?
Oh, yes.
Please put all that information in. Put that information in. However we can see what you have. Please put it in, because we want to be a blessing to you. All of the people that we try to bring on, let's talk about it, we want to try and sew back into them. So we appreciate all this information that you are giving to us tonight. And so for that person that's listening tonight, that feel like you don't know what you're going to do, you still haven't gotten your first unemployment check, you're trying to figure out how you can make a few extra dollars to feed your family. Well, Mike has actually he's given you an opportunity to start your own t-shirt business. He's going to give it to you. All you have to do is reach out to him. So his information is here. So take this opportunity, use it, and let God take it and you run with it. And so again, thank you so much for being a part of this platform. You have blessed us tonight thoroughly.
Oh yes, and that's what it's about. I mean, if we're not here to do that, then what are we here to do? Right? And so this is so those are the emails, and so those are the emails where you can reach me at right there. And if it comes down to it, and we got enough folks that want to just sit down to where I can share my screen with you and show you the functionality of it and how you do this and how you do that, fine, But again, this is what the church is about. This is what fellowship is about. This is how God answers prayers, but the prayer doesn't get answered until your testimony helps somebody else.
That's right. Now, if you're out here and you want us to do a round two, mm-hmm. Mike got a lot of information. He got a lot of information, a lot of stories. And so we can dance again. Yes. But I need to hear from you. I need to hear from you and what you want. And you can email me. Please stick our email information back in the chat box one more time. You can email me and we will get that information. And if we need to bring Mike back again, we'll do it. If the second time we come back and he wants to just run us through certain things, we'll put everybody's picture up. They can actually see him do it, and we'll keep moving forward.
Yeah. So I mean, I tell you, I got a little bit of money investment if you want that, and I got a little bit of money for a big investment if you're willing to ride with me. But it's really, like I said, like the woman in the oil. It's already in you.
It's already in you. It's already in you.
Hey, when I tell you be blessed, and you've been a blessing to me. This is my passion. This is my purpose. This is my ministry. And I tell you, God has done so many wonderful things for me and my family. And this is just the beginning, because I want to make sure that, anybody that touches you or that's a part of your assembly, because it's about sowing back into the community. That's what it's about, sowing back into the community, and to be a wishful giver, not the reluctance of if I have it or not, to be a wishful giver. And so the best way to have that is, hey, we can get your whole church out of debt if they want to. I got a plan for that. I mean, you will have a debt-free church. We can do it in 2 years, 24 months, and it won't cost them a dime out their pocket.
I tell you what, we might dance part two. So I will be in contact with you. I will be in contact with you. So again, thank you, my brother. And our relationship can't do anything but grow from here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And so for all of those who are watching, if there's pastors out here watching, you have the information to reach out to Brother Michael Sturdivant, and he will bless you, just like you've seen tonight. So to our audience tonight, God bless you. Thank you for taking the time out to roll with us on Let's Talk About It. We're looking forward to what God has for us next. You will hear in a few days what we'll be doing next week. So God bless you. Have a great night, and we'll see you next week on Let's Talk About It.
Yeah,
take care, everybody. We love you in Jesus' name.